Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to have been invited again to celebrate the wonderful work of the Naz Bokhari Legacy Foundation and the inspirational individuals who share the foundation's noble goals of educating and empowering young people and working to improve their communities and community cohesion. I am not so grateful, however, to have been asked yet again to address a highly accomplished audience on a subject that many are expert. I've been asked to speak to you about the importance of bringing diverse communities together to build a cohesive society. As the very definition of society is organized and interdependent community, I'm not sure that the addition of the word cohesive is strictly necessary, but perhaps I'm being a bit pedantic. This audience is extremely familiar with the successes and challenges faced and posed by certain groups when it comes to participating in a cohesive society. Also, I assume, I hope, that everyone here appreciates the importance and value of a functioning, interdependent, cohesive society. Basically, you all get it, so I'm going to restrict my remarks to 3 simple points. Firstly, despite provocative, often self-fulfilling clash of civilization theories, it's not inevitable that diverse communities should clash rather than coexist, cooperate, and even cohere. As I understand them, the teachings of the major faiths do not prevent this. Speaking as a Muslim, it is my duty to respect those of other faiths and to help those in need, regardless of their faith background. As I emphasized at the same event last year, the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ teach us that both men and women should be morally responsible, active and proactive, useful members of a community, and not necessarily an exclusively Muslim community, but diverse communities composed of various ethnicities and faiths. The Quran al-Kareem states, "O humankind, God has created you from male and female and made you into diverse nations and tribes so that you may come to know each other. Verily, the most honored among you in the sight of God is the most righteous of you." Cultural diversity and religious pluralism are acknowledged and even welcomed in Islam. And God, Allah, commands us all, whoever we are, to direct our efforts towards the good. I've spoken from my Muslim standpoint for obvious reasons, but can I just say that I found the fuss over the Prime Minister's remarks about this being a Christian country somewhat excessive. Given that one of the most fundamental tenets of Christianity is love thy neighbor, and I don't think that that is only supposed to apply to neighbors who are carbon copies of each other, I frankly wish more people were actually practicing and not just nominal Christians here. I also wish that all Muslims practice jihad in its true sense. Jihad is not a call for violence, nor does it translate as holy war, as is often presumed. Jihad means struggle, and for Muslims, the highest form of jihad is the internal struggle to be a good person. There is so much upset and misunderstanding over the very terminology that is used and abused. The problem is not too much religion, but too little religious literacy. One of the wonderful things about this country is that whether it is Christian or secular, whatever you want to call it, those who live in it have the right within the law and according to the law to be what they choose to be. In this cosmopolitan UK, people from a variety of different faith and ethnic backgrounds do manage to retain their cultural and religious identities while mixing with others with different identities and together contributing to society. There are numerous outstanding inspirational examples, such as the case of Muslims and Jews becoming friends and saving Bradford's last synagogue. And there are many, many more everyday examples of people from diverse backgrounds just getting on with each other as considerate neighbors, kind friends, productive colleagues, and loyal citizens. So my first point is quite optimistic. In theory, diverse communities should be able to come together to build a cohesive society, and in practice, they often do. I'm afraid my second point is not so cheerful. Extremism, as you all know, in all its ugly forms is on the rise, be it religious extremism or that of the far-right neo-nationalist variety, each being the other's best recruiting drive. As you also know, extremist movements are well-funded, well-organized, and well-motivated. They feed on and breed fear and hatred, and their objectives are segregation and isolation from those who are different, and in the most extreme case, the annihilation of those who are different. Thank God, although these pernicious people have made too much headway here and abroad, they have not gained the upper hand, but we cannot be complacent. As the old saying goes, all that is needed for the triumph of evil is that good men and women do nothing. We need to be as well organized and as united in standing up for what we believe in: the rule of law, guaranteeing human rights, women's rights, freedom of expression and conscience, and basic decency and civility between all civilians, regardless of color or creed. Ironically, extremists know very well how to use these rights and freedoms to further their own agendas, and they are too often allowed to get away with much more than they reasonably should, thanks to well-meaning ideas about political correctness and cultural sensitivity. It's not at all easy to know how to proceed in tackling division and extremism without compromising the very principles one seeks to protect. But the best way to combat a negative is with a positive, to work for something positive, to work for a cohesive society. And so I've come to my third and final point, which is to thank and congratulate all of you here who do so much, directly and indirectly, to build and maintain such a society. The direct approach works, as shown by the 3 Faith Forum's achievements, twinning different faith schools, organizing workshops for students to encounter and hear from people of other faiths, not to mention the mixed faith social action projects they arrange at university level. Also, I cannot overestimate the indirect benefits for community cohesion of providing responsible media coverage, of ensuring proper religious and general education, of delivering quality mentoring programs, as well as helping young people to broaden their minds and their horizons through arts, music, visits to galleries, museums, and great UK sites and landmarks, which may be frequented by tourists from far and wide, but perhaps never even seen by those living just a few miles away. Many of you, and of course, the Naz Legacy Foundation and Patchwork, do so much of this and so effectively. All this education, encouragement, encounter, and experience helps to keep blinkers off the eyes and chips off the shoulders, and is key to building that magic ingredient, confidence. I use the word confidence deliberately. It's very different from arrogance, because when you are confident in who you are and being out and about in the world, then you are comfortable engaging with and interacting with the other as a fellow human being. Such confidence is brilliant for the individual, for their communities, and ultimately for that interdependent community we call cohesive society. Thank you very much.